Okay, when we're talking about interest, interest is the money that is earned when we put something in the bank, like the principal, we put an amount of money in the bank, and then the bank, for the honor of having that money and doing what they want with it, to invest it in other things and make them money, they pay a bit of interest to us. So this looks a bit complicated, but it's not really that difficult. I, in this case, stands for the interest. So that's the amount, if we're putting money into the bank, we'll look at it that way, that's the amount that they're paying us, that we will get if we leave that principal amount. So that's what we actually invested. Maybe we put in $1,000, then we'll get some interest based on the amount of time that we leave it in there, and at the rate per annum, which is like anniversary per year. So that rate is over 100 because, of course, it's going to give us a percentage. So that is the percentage that we're going to get of interest based on the principal and the time. So if we smack all these puppies together, if we just follow the rules of multiplying, we get P, principal, times the rate of interest, times the time over 100 is actually the amount of interest we're going to get. So it looks a bit crazy, but it's not really that difficult. So simple interest is used when we get the rate of interest continues on based on that principal. There is something called compound interest, where as we add on the interest, the rate becomes the rate of that new amount, but we're not doing that. This is the simple interest. And so the total amount is the principal, which is the amount we put in, plus the interest that we earned. And this is how we've worked it out. So let's do it. Calculate the simple interest. So we're looking for the interest when the principal is 1,000 at a rate of 5% over a time of 3 years. And it's okay to have it as years because years, remember, that's the annum. So what does that look like in real life? So that equals the principal. That's 1,000 buckaroos. We're going to multiply that by 0.05. Now, where the heck did I get that? That is, if we take that 5 and divide it by 100, it's going to get 0.05 or 5 hundredths. And the time, again, we said was 3 years. So multiply all that together, and we're going to get 150. So therefore, if we invested $1,000 at 5% interest over 3 years, that's not really the best rate, right? 5% per annum, we're going to get an extra $150. Yay, us. Now, Alan and Rachel, they're going to invest some money for their child, Kaylan. Well, that's not it. They invest 4,000 smackaroos for 30 months in a bank that pays 4.5% per annum. I think you might be ahead of me on what we're going to have to do to do some manipulating when we're talking about annum. Calculate the simple interest. So we're still going for simple interest and the amount available at the end. So we're actually, for the last one, we didn't get the amount available. For this one, we are. So we're still going to use interest equals, let's spread it out this time, the principal times the rate times the time. And we're going to have to be careful here, so we're dealing in annums. The principal is the invested amount. So that's 4,000 clams. We're going to multiply that. Let's do the rate next so we keep it all in order. 4.5% divided by 100 is roughly exactly 0.045. And now this is the trick. And so it's 30 months. So 30 months, what is, if we had 12 over 12, we'd get 1. So we want to have 30 out of 12 months. So that is actually going to give us a better answer. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to keep my 4,000. I'm going to keep that percentage turned into a decimal, and I'm going to multiply, I'm going to divide 30 by 12, and I'm going to get 2.5. So now I got numbers I can work with, and now I'm dealing with years. Once I divide 30 by 12, number of months. So you do all that math, you get it all worked out, so we get the interest is equal to $450. Now that's the first question. Well, we also want the total amount, which equals the principal plus the interest. So that's going to be 4,000 plus our $450. Therefore, the total equals $1,450 for Jalen. Lucky kid. good parenting. Now, finally, Remy invests. Here's our principal, $2,500 at 8% per annum. Now, what we don't know, what we do know is the interest in this case, but we don't know the period of time. That's what we're trying to figure this out. So we're still going to write that our interest equals the principal, which we know, the rate, whoops, silly, the principal times the rate, and we want to figure out what the time is. So let's plug in what we know. We've got $50 of interest on a principal of $2,500 times, let's see, 8% divided by 100 to make it into a decimal is 0.08 times time. So let's work on this algebraically. We keep our 50. Let's do the work. 2,500 times 0.08 is 200, isn't it? 200 times time. So how are we going to work it out from there? Time, we're going to divide each of these by 200 so that we get just that t by itself. And so 50 over 200 is 50. Let me go over here. 50 over 200, 0, 60. That's 1/4. So we can call that 1/4. Doesn't make as much sense as time equals 0.25 of, well, gosh, of what? We want our time in years. So that's 0.25 years, or 3 months.